What's going on, all my toy collectors and Motu fans out there? You know who it is. It's your boy Ox. And today we're going to be unboxing a bunch of the Snake Man characters from the Masters of the Universe Origins line by Mattel. We're going to be looking at characters like King Hiss, Snake Teela, Rattlor, Squeeze, Snakeface, and Kobra Khan, and seeing how each one of these figures scale to the 1983 Fortress of Fangs playset by Dungeons & Dragons. So stick with me as we unbox these really cool toys and see if they're worth joining the rest of the figures that I have here in the Cave of Wonders. Let's get to it. Okay, now starting off with the king himself, my boy King Hiss, leader of the Snake Men. You can see right here it says Masters of the Universe. Name of the character we're going to be looking at is King Hiss. This is a deluxe Origins figure, so it's going to cost you a little bit more than your typical $19.99 Origins figure. You guys can see some of his weapons and accessories right here. Clear bubble showing you the character that's inside. It says Snake Men right here. Now I've already measured this package out for you guys. Ended up being 9 inches long by 11, let's say 11.5 inches tall by 3 inches in depth. Okay, so that's how much shelf space you're going to need if you're going to be displaying this in the box. Quickly look over the back. You guys can see some really cool artwork. You guys can see King Hiss right there facing He-Man right there. You guys can see how you guys can pop off all his parts and switch them out if you guys want to. Some of the other characters in the Rise of the Snake Men set, when they started coming out with these, this figure came out I think like 2 years ago. I just wasn't able to get it, but I just got it off Amazon. Okay, now I'm going to try and make this review a little bit faster because we're looking at 6 different figures, so I'm not going to focus so much on each one of the packaging, but I just wanted to show you guys, make sure I show you guys a little bit of the packaging before I pop it out. Okay, let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, now here's my boy King Hiss out of the box. You guys can see it comes with the figure. He comes with an extra head, 2 extra set of arms. That way you guys can turn him into a snake. Comes with a little shield, and then he comes with his little serpentine, staff, basically. And then he comes with this little comic book right here. I'm going to flip through it real fast for you guys. Like I said, I'm going to try and make this review a little bit quicker because we're looking at like 6 different figures, okay? There you go. Same thing that was on the back of the box. Let's go ahead and move this out the way. Let's take a look at his little shield real fast. You guys can see it has a little snake right there on the front of it. And that's not painted on. That's inside the plastic, so that's pretty cool. This is his little shield. Like I said, it just hooks onto his arm. This right here is his little serpent staff, basically right here. Like I said, he is the leader of the Snake Men. I know that Lady Slither ended up being like coming in, and she ended up being the leader or something like that later. But I don't know too much about her. I remember him, but I don't ever remember her being in the old cartoon. Like I said, I didn't watch every episode either. Now this right here is his 2 extra arms. You guys can pop out them arms and then pop these on right here. You guys can see a lot of texture right here. This right here is his extra head. Like I said, you guys can pop that one off and then just pop this one right back on. And I'll do that for you guys in a minute, all right? But yep, a lot of texture right here, just like a snake would have. A lot of scales texture. Even kind of feels a little bit different than the plastic that these other characters, that these figures have without it. It kind of feels like, not gooey, but it kind of actually feels like a snake. That's pretty cool how it ends up looking. All right. Now let's take a look at the character up close. I already measured him out for you guys. He ended up measuring out to 5 inches tall, like most of the other Origins figures. And taking a look at him up close, you guys can see he has a little snake right here on his chest. You guys can see he has like some kind of like scale texturing right here around his arms. This right here is removable. If you guys know most of the Masters of the Universe Origins figures, you guys can swap out their parts. But this is like a little bit of a squishier feel. You guys can see it right there on camera. Like I said, you guys can pop this off if you guys want to, just by these little hinges, all right? Same thing, you guys can see a little bit of scaling right here on like his underwear area. Yep. Now he's going to have all your typical Origins figures, articulation. His head only looks down about that far. It doesn't look up too high because the back of it right here ends up hindering our articulation. Arms come up. They do rotate. He does have rotation right here in his elbow, and it also does bend out. He does have wrist articulation in and out as well. Does have waist articulation, which does go around if you needed to. Legs do kick up, do kick out. They do bend right here at the knee. They do rotate as well at the knee. He does have boot swivel right here at the calf muscle. His feet do go down, do go up, and they do rock back and forth, okay? Like I said, all your typical Origins figures if you guys already been collecting these figures, okay? Now let's go ahead and swap out these parts, and I'll go ahead and switch them out for his hands, for them snake hands and that snake head real fast, okay? And like I said, he does have a gripping hand right here on his right, so you guys can go ahead and just pop this in there if you guys want, and have him holding that if you guys want. So it's basically, if you want him to look like this or look like that, it's up to you guys. But I'm going to go ahead and pop those pieces out for you guys, all right? Okay, now here he is. You guys can see I swapped out those arms real quick. Like I said, you just got to pull them off and then pop the other ones back on. These figures are meant to rearrange the parts and swap them out for different characters if you guys want, okay? Head does rotate around if you guys need it to. Arms do come up. They do move up and down if you guys need them to. All the same articulation. It just doesn't bend, obviously, at an elbow, and it doesn't rotate right here at the snake's head like it would if it was his hands and his wrist, okay? Now, obviously, these snake's mouths aren't open, so he can't hold any of his weapons inside. So this is basically how he's going to look when you guys put these attachments on him. And if you guys swap them out for his hands, you guys know that you guys can connect that shield and everything else like that, all right? But yep, awesome looking figure. He's going to stand a little bit taller because of how tall the snake head is when you guys end up placing him next to figures, your other Origins figures, if you're going to be displaying him like this, okay? Now I'll show him on that Fortress of Fangs playset once I go through all these figures real fast, all right? So let's move on to the next one. Okay, up next we got my boy Rattlor, the evil creature with the quick strike head. Taking a look at the front of the packaging, you guys can see it says Masters of the Universe. The name of the character we're going to be looking at is Rattlor. Makes fearsome battle rattle before attacking, so basically this figure is going to have some kind of rattling noise. That's what the original figure might have had. I'm not for sure because I actually didn't have those old figures from the 80s. Snake Men sticker right here, clear bubble, showing you the character that's inside. I've already measured this package out for you guys. It's 6 inches long by 11, let's say 11.5 inches tall by 3 inches in depth. That's how much shelf space you're going to need if you're going to be displaying him in the box, okay? Taking a look at him up close. On the back, really cool artwork. As always, Mattel doesn't ever skimp on that with these figures. You guys can see one of his action features right there and some of the other characters that were in this wave, all right? Yep, let's go ahead and crack this baby out of the box. Okay, now here's Rattlor out of the package. You guys can see it comes with the figure, comes with an extra tail right here, an extra neck in case you guys want to stretch out his neck. That's one of his action features. It comes with his little serpent staff right here, and then it comes with this little comic book right here, okay? Let's quickly go ahead and take a look at this. You guys can just pause that if you guys want to read up on it. Like I said, I'm not going to go all the way through it for you guys just because we're going to be taking a look at so many figures and I don't want this review to be crazy long, okay? Let's go ahead and move that back. Now let's take a look at these extra accessories. Now this isn't like a hard plastic. This is like real thin rubber right here. And you guys just attach this to the back of his back and it'll basically be his tail right here, okay? Because he's supposed to be like a rattling snake, all right? This right here is his extra neck piece right here. If you guys want to pop off his head, you guys can pop this on and then pop his head right on the top of there, and that'll end up making his neck stretch out, and we'll end up doing that later, all right? Now this right here is the exact same staff besides a different color as the one that King Hiss came with. You guys seen earlier when we just did that figure. So exact same one. It fits inside of his right hand. Actually, same as King Hiss. His right hand is where his staff ended up fitting into, all right? Now, I measured this figure out for you. It's actually bigger than most of your Origins figures. End up measuring out to 6, and I think it was 3/4. Or excuse me, no, 5 5/8. So most of the other Origins figures are about 5 inches. And obviously, he's going to be even taller if you guys want to go ahead and pop off the head and pop this on. And we'll go ahead and do that in a minute, all right? Taking a look at him up close. One of his features is, you guys can hear that? He ends up rattling. He has a little rattle inside of him. Now, I'm not sure if the original figure did that back in the 80s or not, but at least this one does. That's what I noticed, okay? So that's just one of his action features. You guys can see he has a blue paint stripe right there on down his arm, same as down his leg. Little Snake Men logo right there on his little belt. Now, like I said, on all these figures, you guys can pop these parts off and rearrange them for some of your other figures, okay? Now, this right here is his tail. Like I said, it just pops right in there just like this. Pops in there really easy. And it's meant to, you know, like I said, he's meant to be like a rattlesnake, okay? Now, I'm not going to go over the articulation because you guys already know what it is. The only thing that is end up hindering is his head doesn't go all the way down. It does go up pretty far just like that, but it doesn't go down any. I'm not really sure why. Maybe because of right here, but or maybe because of how hard his chest is, when most of the Origins figures have like a softer, good rubber piece right over the front of them. But other than that, his head doesn't go down any, okay? Now let's go ahead and swap out his head real quick, and I'll show you guys what he looks like with that extra long neck piece. Okay, now here he is after I swapped out that neck. Obviously, he measures out now to about 7 inches tall because of how tall this extra neck piece is. Ended up putting his little snake staff right inside of his hand right there. Now, I did notice I had a little bit of trouble standing him up. He looks perfectly fine right now, but that's because I have him standing on one of my stands, and you can see his tail right here is below that. But when I'm trying to stand him up, luckily it's like not hard. It's like real flimsy, but it still kind of pushes him forward, as you guys can see when I'm trying to stand him up. Whether I'm trying to stand him on the table or what, it's not so easy trying to get him to stand up because that tail wants to tip him forward. Okay, guys, so it might be good to possibly maybe try and tuck this in between his legs like that, just like that, and then he ends up standing up just fine. But if it's like behind him, it ends up pushing him forward basically because that tail wants to go down. Okay. But yep, awesome looking figure. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, okay? Okay, now up next we got my boy Kobra Khan. This right here is the evil master of snakes. I actually think he runs King Hiss's army. I might be wrong. Let me know down in the comments. But I think he's like his #1 lieutenant or something like that. I might be wrong, but let me know, okay? You guys can see it says Master of the Universe. Character we're going to be looking at is Kobra Khan, evil master of snakes. Sticker right here letting you know that this is part of the Snake Men's line. Modern posing retro play. You guys can see a clear bubble showing you the character that's inside, all right? Already measured the box up for you guys. 6 inches long, 11.5 inches tall by 3 inches in depth. That's how much shelf space you're going to need if you're going to be displaying this in the box. Really cool artwork right there showing him going up against He-Man. You guys can see his action feature where he squirts that little venom out of his mouth right there, and some of the other characters, all right? Barcode in case you guys need to see it. And for a lot of you diehard Master Universe fans, I know you guys are like, no, it's an unpunched card, but I'm not really like one of the people who are going to collect these on the card. I wanted to display them. That's me personally, but I'm going to go ahead and pop them out now. All right. Okay, now here's Kobra Khan out of the box. You guys can see the figure right here. You can see he comes with 2 accessories. He comes with a little translucent venom effect. And then he comes with a gun. And then he comes with this little comic book right here. This is the same comic book that came with Rattlor, so I'm not going to go through it for you guys. If you guys want to see that, you guys already seen it when I did the review of the Rattlor, right? I'm taking a look at his little blast effect. Now, this doesn't actually shoot out of his mouth like a projectile or nothing. You guys just push it right into the opening of his mouth right there. And it's meant to look like he's just spitting out venom, okay? This right here is his little gun. Ends up going in his right hand right here. It's just orange. Does have a lot of little details on it, but nothing else is painted. It's just one solid color. Now, this figure right here ended up measuring out to 6 inches tall, so I think he's actually taller than the Rattler without his neck extension or whatever. So he might be taller than some of the other Snake Men figures. That's why I think he was actually the general for King Hiss, basically, of all the snake, and that's probably why he's called the snake leader or whatever. Okay, let's take a look at him up close. You guys can see that his arms and legs are a more flat green compared to his chest, which is a harder plastic and more of a shinier color compared to this right here. Okay, I thought this actually popped off, it had little the little grooves right there where this can actually pop off, but it doesn't. Okay, this right here, what he looked like from the side. On the back, you can see how that snake detail right there. Now he's going to have all the same articulation as most of your other Origins figures. His head doesn't go down too far, just kind of like the Rattler, and it doesn't go up basically at all, okay? It's just going to stay in that position, but it can rotate around, all right? Not sure why it doesn't. I guess you have to pull it back a little bit further, but then you can kind of see that the opening right there in his neck. But so I don't really see him having too much articulation looking up and looking down, all right? There you go. Arms do come up. They do rotate. They do rotate at the elbows as far as bending as well. He do rotate at the wrist. He does rotate at the waist. Legs do kick up. They do kick out. They do bend at the knees. They do rotate at the knees. He does have a boot and calf rotation right here. Feet do go down. They do go up, okay? Now let's go ahead and show him with that blast effect in his mouth. Like I said, you guys just push it in. It doesn't shoot out. This isn't a projectile. It's just meant to look like he's shooting acid or venom out his mouth at He-Man or whoever he's going up against, okay? And like I said, his gun does go in his right hand, just like that. Pretty awesome looking figure. And like I said, I'll do a scale comparison of him and the other Snake Men at the end and see who's basically the tallest without that extra neck extension piece, all right? Let's go ahead and move on to the next figure. Okay, now up next we have Snake Teela. This is obviously reuse of the original Teela mold that they had came out with years ago. Taking a look at the front of the box, you can see it says Masters of the Universe. Like I said, Snake Teela, Mind Control Snake Woman. The Snake Man logo right there. Clear bubble showing you the character that's inside. Same packaging dimensions, 6 inches long by 11.5 inches tall by 3 inches in depth, okay? Taking a look at the back of the box, you can see her going up against He-Man in his snake armor right there. You can see King Hiss in the back using his magic ancient powers basically to end up transforming her into one of his snake slaves, okay? Some of the other characters in this wave. Let's go ahead and crack her out of the box. Okay, now here she is out of the box. You can see it comes with the figure. She comes with her little staff right here. She comes with a sword, and then she comes with her own little mini comic, all right? Now, we haven't seen this little mini comic yet, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. You can see her right here on the front. You guys go ahead and pause that if you guys want to read up on it, okay? There we go. I love these little comics. I think they're really cool, especially for people who might not know too much about the Masters of the Universe, the original show, or I think the one that came out in like 2003 or something like that. I don't know what that one was called, like He-Man and the Masters of the Universe or something like that. But for kids who hadn't seen those, you know, I like those little mini comics because they give you a little read up on these characters, all right? Let's take a look at her little serpent staff right here. Now, the original Teela actually came with this as well. She came with like a brown version, all right? This is her sword. Now, this is a newer one. I didn't see the original Teela. She didn't end up having this one. And you guys can see it's like a metallic, like green color right there instead of just being like a flat color. I thought that was pretty cool. It makes it definitely stand out on your shelf the way the light hits it, all right? Let's take a look at her up close. I think she measured out to 5 7/8. Yeah, about 5 7/8. So she's a pretty tall figure. Not exactly 6 inches, but almost there, okay? Let's take a look at her up close. Love the paint work on her. Now I'm going to go ahead and compare her to the original Teela real quick. Let's go ahead and pop this off of her real fast, so you guys can see real quick some of the reuse. Now, her head actually looks different. Maybe it's because this one has a crown on it that they made a whole new head for her. But even her body part, not her arms right there, you can see that this piece right here ends up having like shoulder pads or shoulder armor that ends up sticking out. So I don't think this is too much reuse, because even on the boots, as you guys can see, it has a piece right there. And even the legs, the knees look different. I think I had the first run of Teela. I think there was another one that came out because her knees look a little bit wider than these one right there. So I don't think this is too much reuse. Maybe just in the arms, as you guys can see right there. Maybe the arms are the only thing that's actually reuse. You guys can see right here, it's just painted different, obviously. But most of it, I would say, isn't actually reuse, because it looks a little bit different to me. Most of the pieces do, okay? So yeah, to me, I'm not sure if this is, because I had heard that there was another Teela figure. Maybe they came out with this one, and then, you know, people complained about the way it looked, and then they redid it. I'm not really for sure. I just bought that one originally when I had seen it at Walmart, okay? Or, yeah, I think it was Walmart. I think these were Walmart exclusives at first, if I remember. I'm not really for sure. But yeah, taking a look at her up close, you guys can see all of her little snake design right here. Now, that's not like in the plastic, that's just paint right there. But still, it does look really cool. This figure does look pretty awesome, right? Especially on her eyes right there, all the little scales coming down, the red lips, her red eyes, and everything like that. So awesome looking figure, man. Love the way she looks. Let's go over articulation real quick. Her head does rotate around. She does look up about that far, not too far, but she does look down really far if you need her to, okay? Her arms do come up. They do rotate. They do bend at the elbows right here. They do rotate if you need them to. It does have wrist articulation. It does go in, does go out. Her body does rotate if you need it to right here. Legs do kick up pretty far, a lot further than some of the other figures, maybe because she's so skinny compared to them ones which are so thick. They do bend at the knee. They do rotate. She does have boot articulation right here. This little thing right here doesn't hinder that articulation. Feet do go down, do go up. They do rock back and forth. So pretty awesome looking figure. Let's go ahead and show her with her weapons in her hands, all right? Okay, now here she is with her weapons in her hands. I just wanted to show you guys one more time. This is the original Teela right here and how she looks. Let's go ahead and move on to the next figure, all right? Okay, now up next, we're going to take a look at Squeeze. We just have one figure left after this one. Evil long arm Viper, basically. So he's gonna have really long arms where he can like wrap around some of the other Origin figures and squeeze them. Okay, so that's why it says right here, trap warriors in his slither hold, basically. Master of the Universe logo right there. Like I said, his name is Squeeze. Retro play. You can see the Snake Men logo right there. Clear bubble window showing you the character that's inside. All the same packaging as all the other figures that we just looked at. Okay. Take a look at them up close before we pop them out of the box. Taking a look at this artwork, as always. Like I said, Mattel never skimps on some of this artwork. I love the way it looks right there. You guys can see how he can wrap himself around. At least it says up to 3 warriors right here. So he can go up against, you can see him going up against Teela and He-Man and Man-at-Arms right there, all right? Some of the other characters that were in this wave. Let's go ahead and pop this figure out of the box. Okay, now here's Squeeze out of the box. You guys can see it comes with the figure. Comes with this little, I'm not really sure what this is. It doesn't really look like a staff, but it just shows it wrapped around his arms. But I'm going to go ahead and see if I can fit it in his hand and see exactly what I can do with it, okay? Because I'm not really sure what this is. Comes with a little mini comic. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one because this looks like a newer one. No. You guys go ahead and pause the video if you want to read up on it, okay? Love these little comics. Love them that they always put them in there, okay? Let's take a look at this real quick. You can see our little molding right here. Like I said, it's shaped like a snake. You can see the teeth, the eyes, and everything. It doesn't actually bend. I thought it did because on the back of the box, it showed it like wrapped around his arm. But maybe if you just kind of turn it around his arm like that, but it's not flexible at all, okay? So if you try and bend this too much, you'll end up breaking right here, all right? But yep, pretty cool looking little, not sure what it is, some kind of little weapon. Now, this figure, I know he's going to look like he's top heavy because of how big his arms are. You basically, because his arms do bend, but you're going to want his arms down like this. That way, end up holding it up. If you try and put his arms up, he'll end up just obviously falling over like that. So at least you got to have like one arm on the ground. That way it kind of holds up his body weight of how big his arms are, okay? Let's take a look at him up close. I'm not familiar at all with this character. I do feel like they skimped a little bit on the paint right here on that dragon emblem, or not dragon, but snake emblem, because if you look at the other characters real quick, go ahead and pull them out for you. You guys can see that they actually detailed the snake on these guys right here. You guys can see that. Sorry, the focus wasn't focusing. You guys can see that they detailed the snake on there, but they didn't end up doing that for this figure, maybe because they spent extra money making his arms extra long. But they didn't end up doing that for this figure right there, even adding it right here. So like I said, I'm not really familiar with this character at all, but obviously I'm just going off of what it says on the box that basically he can squeeze up to like 3 different figures if you need him to, okay? Take a look at his head. Kind of looks more like a crocodile rather than a snake, actually. But still, awesome looking figure. I love what they're doing with some of these snake men. I'm not really sure, like I said, I'm not too familiar with this show, but I feel like some of the snake men that they've been coming out with are just ones that they just basically made up. I don't think a lot of these were actually characters that were possibly in the show. Not talking about him, but some of the new ones that I see are coming out that are on Walmart's website right now. I never heard of some of them characters before, so I'm not sure if maybe them are just made up characters to go with the line, but let me know down in the comments below, okay, guys? Let's go ahead and take a look at his articulation. His head does go up. It's a little bit loose on this figure, but it does go up pretty high, higher than the other figures that we just looked at. Down, does rotate around. Now, he doesn't have articulation right here as far as going up. Right here at his shoulders, and obviously he doesn't have any elbows or nothing like that to bend, so his arms don't come up right here. They do rotate up like this, but they can't pull them up to make them stretch up. They'll just end up popping out, okay? So that's all you're going to get as far as articulation right there, but these do bend, so you can bend them any way that you want. They do rotate right here at the wrist. You guys can see that he does have really big hands right there, and I'll try and fit that weapon inside, okay? He does rotate right here at the waist. Legs do kick up, they do kick out, they do rotate around and bend at the knee. He does have boot articulation right here. Toes do go down, they do go up, they do rock back and forth if you guys need them to, okay? Now, like I said, I'm not too sure what this is right here. I'm gonna guess maybe it just goes in his hand like this. Maybe it's like a snake that he like a pet snake or something like that he ends up like throwing at some of the characters or some of the warriors that are going up against him. I'm not really for sure, but like I said, in the back of the box, it looked like it kind of just wraps around his arm just like that, basically, and that's all it does. So I'm not really sure exactly what kind of weapon this is, or if maybe this is like like a little sidekick or something like that, meant to be like a real snake in the cartoon that's supposed to, like, you know, go up against people, or like some kind of hammer snake that he uses to clobber people with. Not really sure. But let's go ahead and test out the theory about how many people he can hug, because he's a pretty wide arm figure, obviously. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the figures that we already done looked at. This right here is Rattlor. Maintain, stay up. This right here is King Hiss. Obviously, these are his own homies that he's working with, so he's not going to try and hurt them. And let's go ahead and throw, we'll just throw Teela in there too real quick. If we can get her to stand up, and we'll see if he can, how big his arms. Oh no. Yeah, he has plenty of room, basically. If he wanted to possibly grab 3 or 4, you know, 3 or 4 different figures, if he wanted to, he could basically just wrap them around. Now, there's no action feature. You don't squeeze his legs or anything like that, and that doesn't make his arms like squeezing or nothing. You're just meant to basically articulate these and bend them like a bendy wire around the character that you want him to grab, okay? But yep, awesome looking figure. Let's go ahead and move on to the last one, which is Snakeface, okay? Okay, last figure to look at, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Snakeface. This is actually a deluxe figure, so it's going to cost you more than your typical Origins figures. Now, I actually really like the way this figure looks. I'm not familiar with this character, but he reminds me a lot of Medusa from what I see on the packaging and what I read in the back of the packaging, okay? Now, taking a look at the box right here, you can see it says Masters of the Universe. The character we're going to be looking at is Snakeface, most gruesome of the Snake Men warriors. So obviously he's like the most ugliest, the most scariest, the most ruthless, I'm going to guess, okay? It says snakes pull out from the body or whatever. So he's going to have like little snakes that end up coming out of his eyes and stuff like that, which you can see on that extra head sculpt, all right? Now, like I said, this is a deluxe figure, so the box is going to be bigger. It measured out to 9 inches long by 11.5 inches tall by 3 inches in depth. So that's how much shelf space you're going to need if you're going to be displaying this in the box. Let's take a look at it up close. You guys can see that extra head sculpt. Same weapon as some of the other Snake Men we just looked at. Other stuff right here. You can see the character right there. On the back, you can see that he turns heroes into stone by just a glaze, like by just looking at him. That's why I said he kind of reminds me of Medusa a little bit, because that's exactly what she does. You can see how to work his action feature right here. You can see some of the other Snake Men and some of the other characters that are in this wave that came out, all right? Let's go ahead and crack him out of the box. Okay, now here's Snakeface out of the box. You guys can see it comes with the figure. It comes with some kind of little shield or something like that right here that he ends up holding. It comes with an extra headpiece that the eyes are basically shooting out of. He comes with one of those little serpent staff that all the other Snake Men basically end up having. Comes with a little comic book. And then I keep forgetting to mention this to you guys. Like I said, it's nothing really big. It just basically lets you know what parts are removable that you guys can swap out with some of your other figures. Like I said, if you guys want these arms to go on your King Hiss, you guys can pop those off. If you guys want that head to go on one of your other characters, you guys can do that. And this basically just labels all the parts. I forgot to look at some of this for you guys. I figure most of you guys who collect Origins figures already know about this little piece of paper. All right, guys? Sorry, I was just trying to save time just because we got so many figures that we're looking at. All right? Let's go ahead and take a look at this little mini comic book. This is a newer one. Viper's Vice, sorry. You guys go ahead and pause that if you guys want to read up on it. I haven't actually read this little comic book yet, so I'm going to have to do that after this review, because this thing looks pretty cool. You know, a character I don't have, I wish I would have got, he was also Mattel Creations exclusive, was Fangor. I really want that figure, man. I know I'm going to have to pay the extra price for it, unless I was hoping Mattel would end up putting it back on their website for people to buy it again, but I ended up missing out on it. So tried to get it, but it sold out too fast. But yep, right there's that. Let's go ahead and take a look at these little accessories. This right here is his little shield. You guys can see it's little snakes, basically all going out different ways, and this just attaches to his hand if you guys needed to. You can see he has 2 gripping hands right there. You can see that same little serpent staff as some of the other characters that we just looked at in this review all have. They're all just different colors. This one's like a darker green. Extra head sculpt, which I think is totally awesome, the one that I'm going to be using. You guys can see the snakes are coming out of his eyes, coming out of the back of his neck. You guys can see his tongue is sticking out, and that's probably why he's called Snakeface right there, all right? Now, I know he looks a little bit taller, and he is. He measures out to 6 inches. That's because I noticed, I forgot when I pulled these figures out of the box, I didn't bend their knees all the way up. I posed them directly how they were inside the packaging. So that's why some of the characters are a little bit taller. But when I do put them all next to each other, I'll try and make sure their knees are all the way bent up. Their legs are stretched out. That way we can see which one's basically the tallest or exactly how they stand, all right? Because they're all meant to be around 6 inches or at least 6 inches or so, all right? Take a look at him up close. I really like this figure out of all of them the best. Personally, I like this figure the best. I just love the way he looks. I love his color scheme. You guys can see he has another little snake logo right there. And you guys can also see that little texture of what I was talking about with Squeeze, okay? Now he has these little snake pieces that come out of his chest just like that. I thought that was pretty cool, actually. And you guys can lift those up and put them right back in there just like that. Taking a look, you guys can see he has a lot of snake textured skin right there, his teeth and everything. He has snake right here, snakes coming out of the side of his helmet and everything like that. I love the fact that they didn't just do gray arms, they ended up doing some green shading right there. Obviously, this is a deluxe figure, so it's going to cost you a little more than your other typical Origins figures, and maybe that's why they put them extra details on them. But yeah, awesome looking figure. Let's go over his articulation real quick. His head does rotate around if you need it to. It doesn't look up at all. It looks down a little bit further about there, okay, compared to him looking straight. His arms do come up. They do rotate. He does have single jointed elbows, and they do rotate at the elbows as well. It does rotate right here at the wrist, does go in and out. It does rotate right here at the waist. Like I said, these little snakes do come out of his chest just like that. They can't come off, but they do pop down if you guys need them to. Legs do kick up. They do kick up about that far. They do rotate at the knees. They do bend at the knees. They do rotate at the boot as well. Feet do go down. They do go up if you guys need them to, okay? Now let's go ahead and pop off this head, and I'll go ahead and throw some accessories in his hands and swap out that head real quick for you guys, all right? Okay, now here he is with his weapon in his hand, his little shield. And like I said, I swapped out his head right there. I just wanted you guys to see what he looked like with all of his accessories in his hand. And like I said, this obviously is, to me, this is one of my favorite figures out of all the figures that we looked at today. I really love the way this thing looks. It'd be really cool if there was some kind of like little button right here where you could like make his tongue end up like, you know, slashing back and forth or coming out, or maybe even having his eyeballs poke out. But I don't see any kind of buttons or anything like that end up doing that. But I thought that would have been a really cool feature. If you guys remember those old Mask toys by Kenner, what is it? You know, Jim Carrey, the movie Mask, where he had the green mask on or whatever. You guys remember those buttons you could push and his eyeballs would pop out or his tongue would pop out? That'd be pretty cool if they added that feature into here, especially with it being a deluxe figure. I thought that would have been a pretty cool accessory to have his tongue be able to move, but not a big deal. I personally am not going to be playing with these figures. I'm going to be displaying these figures, but for kids who are getting their hands on these figures, it would have been a nice little action for them to have, nice little action figure action for them to basically be able to have those eyes, those snakes move inside the eyes, and that tongue end up moving in the mouth. But yeah, awesome looking figure. Let me show all these figures together standing next to each other, and then I'm going to show you guys what they look like standing on that Fortress of Fangs playset, all right? Okay, now here's all the characters we already looked at. Obviously, this right here is King Hiss. I wanted to see who actually is the tallest. Obviously, King Hiss is taller than her, so let's go ahead and move her out of the picture real quick. Same with Squeeze. I could obviously lift his legs up a little bit more, but still, he's not taller than King Hiss. So let's go ahead and move Squeeze out of the way. Now, this right here, like I said, I think this is his main general right here, my boy Kobra Khan right here. So I just wanted to show how they look standing next to each other. Kobra Khan is actually taller than him. So let's go ahead and move King Hiss out of the way. See who else is as tall as he is. This right here is Rattlor. Rattlor is actually shorter than he is. Obviously, without his neck piece, he would end up being taller than him with that little neck extension that we looked at. So let's go ahead and move him out the way. And then we got Snake Face. And I'm not sure which one is exactly taller. I think they're both exactly the same height. So I'd say maybe the reason he is so tall is because he is obviously the Snake Master, like the general who, you know, goes directly to King Hiss and ends up ordering all these snake men to do what he wants them to do, okay? But yeah, let's go ahead and show these figures on this Dungeons & Dragons Fortress of Fangs playset. I know it's what you guys wanted to see, so let's go ahead and check that out real quick. Okay, now here's all the Snake Men displayed on top of this Fortress of Fangs playset. If you're not familiar with this, it's part of the Dungeons & Dragons line. I think it's from 1983 or 1985. Like I said, it's called the Fortress of Fangs playset. Now, I ended up getting this at a thrift store for really, really cheap. Not a thrift store, but like a flea market. I think I got this thing for like $10, and it came with almost everything. I was missing like a gate, which I ended up getting custom done, and the stickers were ripped off. So I paid a guy on eBay, and he ended up sending me some stickers. I ended up taking off all the old stickers with some Goo Gone, and ended up replacing all the stickers or whatever. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys what all these characters look like standing on top of this. I had overheard that Mattel Creations was actually going to be doing a Snake Men playset. I'm not really for sure if they're still going to be doing that or not. It was just a rumor that I heard, but I love the way this looks, because this actually looks like a snake with the eyes and everything like that. And there's plenty of space on here to store all your different figures. I can still fit maybe, you know, 3 or 4, maybe 5 more figures, and that's not even including just around it or whatever. Now, the figures, being the fact that they're 6 inches or whatever, they do look a little bit taller, especially on top. They look a little bit taller. It would be nicer if the top of this playset was a little bit taller, but on the inside, they fit perfectly fine. I don't have to bend their legs or anything like that, but and you guys can see that, I have some characters on the inside, like guarding the treasure that's inside of it. It has little gates. Now, in the back where I have Lady Slither, I would like to make some kind of like green bricking, maybe out of foam or something, and I can have her standing up there, or maybe even make like a yellowish gold throne for King Hiss. Depends on who I want to basically like be the leader, because I know she ended up like banding him to a different like universe or something like that when she ended up taking over the Snake Men. But yeah, man, this is a pretty cool playset, man. I just wanted to show you guys what it looked like, because I got this thing for dirt cheap. I actually thought it was part of the Masters of the Universe line from back in the 80s. When I bought it, I seen it and I was like, oh, this thing's pretty cool. But like I said, the stickers were all ripped, and the woman ended up giving it to me for like $10. And then I just, you know, grabbed small little parts that I needed off of eBay. That gate right there is like custom. That and the skulls, that's like a custom 3D part that someone ended up selling on eBay for really cheap. And like I said, I just wiped off the stickers, took it all apart, got rid of all the dust, and ended up cleaning it all up or whatever. And then I put the new stickers on it. So now it's basically, I'm only missing like maybe 3 pieces, I think. But still an awesome looking playset. Fits in really well with these characters on where I'm going to be displaying it at. This playset is a little bit shorter than the Castle Grayskull, just because it's not as tall as that playset, but it's still, as far as width goes, when the playset is closed, the Castle Grayskull is closed, it's still the same width. It's just a little bit wider coming out from the back of where she is to the front of the ladder right there. But yeah, because it's a Snake Man, I just wanted to show what it looked like and let you guys see exactly what it looked like, because I think this is an awesome looking playset, okay? Well, hope you guys enjoyed this review of all these different characters. Like and subscribe. Until next time, stay cool.